We intend to maintain separate schools in Georgia one way or another, come what may. We are in Georgia at the present time building 1,036 new school buildings in every county in the state for both white and colored students, absolutely without any distinction whatsoever.
There was no equality, separate but equal. No,
it was supposed to be separate but equal, but it wasn't.
Separation part existed, but the equal part never existed.
As we grew up, we already knew and expected it to be that way. So we knew that as a child coming up.
First of all, you had no students, then you had teachers. You had no students, then you had textbooks. And the lunchroom staff was limited.
You just assumed to see one of the teachers in the lunchroom having Miss Lee about there serving food, as to see her in the classroom on the bulletin board, or you might see her sweeping or anything that needed to be done. They did it.
They wanted to give you a very small budget, and I continued to contend for a larger budget. That didn't make me most proper principal in the world, but I stuck to it.
We knew that the whites got the best of everything, and we had to take whatever we could get.
We used their old books.
The books we were issued at Pinevale, they were used by students at Valdosta High years before.
And we realized that by looking at some of the texts and when they were copyrighted.
They used to send over old equipment, old books. They'd load them up on the back of a truck, and then they would bring them over, and then they would push them off on the ground, and we would take them and tape them together, and that material, we didn't realize it at the time, but that material was obsolete by the time we got it.
Of course, Baby Mo and some guys would bring it out and dump it right there by the gym. Books all tore apart, and that's just where they did it. That's where they did it.
Nothing made me feel as low as helping to unload those pickup trucks and help get those books, because see, they were all written in by the previous students, and so I had a time with that.
Books, and if you're thinking about nice new textbooks, laboratory stuff in the chemistry lab and stuff like that, you could have that, stuff in the home ec department you might not have, that they had in their home ec department,
For instance, if you're going to teach clothing for a semester, you got to have some cloth. You got to have some thread and some other things.
We had things that was handed down from other school to us. Now, I sung in the chorus, and I did play basketball for a little while, but everything we had, it had to be cleaned at Valdosta dry cleaner and then hand down to us.
With the band, football team, basketball teams, choirs. We won lots of awards for those kinds of things, which made us feel really good. But then in the midst of that, we still had hand-me-downs. It wasn't like we had new uniforms or new accessories or anything like that. So you felt good, but then you didn't feel so good.
Same thing about brick masonry. They want to limit the number of bricks they purchase to use and trash.
You have some hand-me-down stuff but you put your mindset together to put it together. Sometimes you got books, pads, you tape them up, and you figure out a way how to improvise. And that's what we did, a lot of improvise to be perfection, to do what we had to do.
I didn't feel like I was missing out on anything because the teachers was teaching the best with what they had. But we all knew everything that came down was hand-me-downs. And we didn't feel like that was fair.
We had to teach it. We just didn't have the equipment the teachers needed to teach us, because that's all they needed was the equipment. They give us the equipment, that we would have spent heavy.
We had all of that substandard books, substandard. Our teachers taught us.
Exactly.
They taught us. The fact that those books were substandard, that was no excuse.
When it would rain, we had to walk in the mud and the water to get into the school. And at Valdosta High, they didn't have that problem. Their parking lot was paved.
Yes, they was getting new books that and passing us the old books and new uniforms for the football team, and we had to suffer with what we had.
I remember when we went to camp, they went to camp down in Lake Park, which was a facility. Our camp was right in this gym. And we got our bedding from Moody Field Air Base.
For instance, helmets, we played with at Pinevale. We played with the same helmets throughout our high school days. Valdosta would get new equipment in every year.
Stadium, the condition paled compared to Cleveland Field, Valdosta High,
And let me say this. In Pinevale, first of all, we had no stadium. We had to schedule around Valdosta High and Mr. Bazemore.
The players at Valdosta High can go back and look at old film. We can't do that because we didn't have the funds for that.
So I kept begging. So they bought the bleachers. They put the bleachers out there on the field, but they were not welded together.
Everything that we were allowed to do was always secondhand, rundown, not adequately supplied.
So I had a teacher named Lewis Wright, who was a brickmaker instructor. He could weld. So he took the assembling of the bleachers as his project. And after school in the evening, he had a second group of students, and they would weld the bleachers together.
We just wanted equal rights. All we wanted was for Pinevale to have the same thing that Valdosta High had. That's all we wanted.
We really wanted what you have, the rights to do the things that you were doing. We didn't say we had to be there.
So, we didn't have a problem with being separate. It was the inequality that we had the problem with. We didn't have a problem with being separate because we didn't feel that, because we were already a community. We were already family. We were already, so we didn't feel that.